All right, so here we're looking at this 2014 Jeep Patriot. It's the limited edition, whatever that means. I got the tires put on it, both sides, all the way around. Got the tires put on it. We got this bumper put on it. I ordered these lights new. This dent was part of the fender already. That was the way it was. That's nothing to do with the bumper. The bumper's from here down, and that's just a hit it took before in the past. But this light was broken already on his original bumper also. There's the lights from the junkyard also. These lights were broken. They're just pretty crappy. So I ordered these lights on eBay, but you know, they're not gonna arrive on time. I checked the tracking and it said it was gonna arrive early, and now it says it's arriving like March 7th or something like that. So I'm just gonna give it back to him without the lights and wait for the lights to come in, and then he'll come back and put them on. But anyways, moving past that, there's the bumper put on it. Doesn't look bad. I actually like this bumper more than the other one. And with the new lights on it, it'll look even better. The other one has the fog lights in the middle, close to each other. This one has them out on the corners. So I like that. I still haven't put this tire on. I got everything else here put together. I got that new throttle body installed. You can see it there. It looks nice. So there's the new throttle body installed. Got the engine cleaned up a little bit. The only thing that I got the fender put on too. Only thing I haven't put on is the fender liner that I got from the junkyard that goes to protect those wires. You know, that fender liner goes under there. That's the only thing I haven't put on yet. And I haven't put it on yet because I was like double, triple checking each wire one by one, making sure that they were all connected properly. So I'm going to show you what's wrong with it. This is what the car is doing that's wrong. So here's the key. All that's working. Everything electrical. I've tested everything. I've tested the radio. I've tested the AC. I've tested freaking steering wheel controls, headlights, everything I've tested on this car. Interior lights. Everything electrical works. It's not like, oh, you know, because that's the wires you just saw in the fender are what's called a body harness. It's not the engine harness. It's the body harness. It connects the fuse box to the dash harness. So it's like a body harness that goes from the fuse box behind the dash and then plugs up to everything else behind the dash. So if I would have got those wires wrong, there would be stuff in the dash that doesn't work, and you would notice stuff in the dash that doesn't work. So these are all the lights when you turn just the ignition on without starting the car. And if you can see that lightning bolt right there that flashes, that's the main problem that we're having with it. And then the airbag light was on. I think it was on before, or one of the sensors got taken out in the front bumper when it ripped up the front bumper. Seatbelt is because obviously I don't have my seatbelt on. And that bottom light is traction control. And the top light is the ABS light. And then over here you have your emergency brake light, right? And then you got a check engine light. And you got a TPMS, tire pressure monitoring sensors are acting up. Maybe they just need to be reset. That tire exploded. When that tire exploded, it could have damaged the sensor inside of the tire. So now it's got that flashing. Anyways, before, the first time I connected the wires and put the key in it, it said no fuse here. And then I went and looked at all the fuses, replaced all the fuses that need to be replaced, and now that's gone. It's giving you the temperature. Check engine light on. obviously it's on for the red light flashing. The red light flashing is what's causing the ABS and the traction control light to both be on. If you can fix this light, it'll turn those two lights off. The emergency brake light is just because the emergency brake is up. And that'll go off when I turn the key now that I put the brake off. And then airbag and seatbelt, obviously. So anyways, we're going to start the car. And I got a scanner here where I'm looking at data. And pretty much we're going to be looking at, I'm going to keep it on engine RPMs. Okay, so the other thing we could look at fuel system stuff. Throttle command actuator. That's another thing we want to look at. So we're at 18 at 0.6 volts, right? And I'm not sure what the voltage is. I got to look it up online, but we're going to see what the voltage is here, and then I'll look it up online and try to confirm from there. But we did replace the throttle body actuator. I just showed you the new one. Here's the old one in the box. In the past video I showed you, it's covered in oil, it's rusted, it's pretty crappy. So it was clicking, it was making noises. So you definitely wanted to replace that. So we ordered a cheap one online because when money's tight, that's what you do. Everybody online is saying not to order the cheap throttle bodies online. They're saying make sure you get an original Mopar OEM quality part. Even if you do order it online, make sure it's an original Mopar part. This part that he ordered on Amazon doesn't even have a brand. It doesn't have a name. So I don't know who even made that throttle body. And I was looking at the tag here. That's my name there. But yeah, I was looking at the tag here. It doesn't say anything here. It didn't come with like a piece of paper inside giving you a model, brand number, or anything on the one that's installed. So it did have, show you this right here. Y'all can see that. It did have that number. It says throttle body 2.0, 2.4 years, 07 to 17, made in China. So it's a made in China, cheapy deepy one. It's not a Mopar Dodge one. I don't know. You know, I tell people all the time, a mechanic is only as good as the quality of the part that you give him. And I'm not trying to fault the guy. I'm not trying to talk crap. He's in a tight spot. He just, you know, he can't afford it. So, you know, you do what you can. You work with what you can afford. I get that. But at the same time, keep in mind the mechanic is only as good as the quality of the part you give them. So this light, if you look it up online, there's plenty of research on anybody that owns a Chrysler product, a Jeep, a Compass, a Dodge, what do they call those? The Intrepids, the Chrysler 300s. I mean, just about anything Chrysler, Dodge. There's information all over online about this red lightning bolt that flashes like that. I'll give you a close-up of it. And everybody online, they all agree that the red lightning bolt situation is a bad throttle body. So there's nobody saying it's anything else other than that. So the original throttle body that we took off, you could hear it clicking, click, click, click. So when you turn the key, you cycle it on and off. That's what resets it, right? That's what like kind of helps it go through a relearning procedure. I don't want to say recalibrate, but that's how you get it to, You cycle the key on and off a couple times. So we're gonna start this thing up and you'll see what it does. It wants to idle good at first. So right now you say it's idling good, right? It's at 1,000 RPMs. I'm hitting the gas. I don't know if you can see my foot. Should be revving up. And it doesn't rev up when you give it gas. It's what you call limp mode. It's in limp mode. That throttle body, it's pretty much the PCM, the computer's detecting that that throttle body is not communicating with the PCM. And I mean, it's registering voltage, but there's no, I mean, the voltage should be going up and down, up and down. When you click on it, you see the graph on it. I mean, you should see movement in it. Like, see, when I hit the gas pedal, there should be movement in that. As I'm hitting the gas pedal, there should be play on this graph right here. But we're dead set at 8.6. And this is throttle body command, and we're not getting nothing. Like, I can't get nothing out of it. So I mean, the guy's like, oh, I just want my car. Well, I come give it to him and I put it in. I don't want to put it in drive because the wires are there and I could rip them up. So I'll put this back in park, and I'll make sure that those wires, see what I mean by the wires are there, they could get caught up here and get ripped up. So I would need to hold this out of the way somehow. So the wires don't get tangled up. And you see how rough the engine's running all of a sudden now? See it shaking? That's throttle body, man. What you hear popping is bugs getting zapped in the bug zapper. You hear them getting zapped up there. Yep, there goes another one. Anyways, look, the RPMs shot up to 1,500 RPMs. It'll go up as high as 2,000. You got the red lightning bolt flashing. You got your check engine light on and steady. There it goes. It wants to settle down. It's dropping RPMs again on its own. But when I look at my graph here and I give it gas, I'm in limp mode. I'm getting nothing. And it's saying the car has no gas. The E light is on, right? The gas light. Well, that has nothing to do with it. It should still. Now we got traction control on. We're gonna make sure those wires, yep, they're out of the way. Okay, so the transmission's engaged and it's spinning, but I'm giving it gas and I'm getting no rev. It won't go. It's stuck at freaking that RPM. So we're gonna go back here on the scanner. Throttle actuator control. Throttle actuator control 8.6. So this is your throttle. This is the actuator control reading, and I'm getting nothing. And I mean, it's properly installed. It's on there. Accelerator pedal position. It's at 96. It's at 96.5. I'm hitting the accelerator pedal, and I still got 96.5, nothing. So this accelerator pedal is not communicating with the PCM. That throttle body, the computer, and this accelerator pedal are not communicating, because see, back in the days they used to be like it was just a cable. It was a mechanical cable. And now they're not like that anymore. They're electric. There's no cable hooked up to these things. It's just a plug. It's a signal from the computer. So the computer and that are not communicating at all. And it's unfortunate, because that's our problema here. Relative throttle position 8.6, command throttle 8.6, throttle position sensor 19.2, staying still, accelerator pedal staying still. That goes in the catalytic converter. I'll go up past the fuel system. That's the ignition. Temperatures at 190. 196 is what this likes to run at. With the temperature halfway, it's at 196. Outside temp, MAF airflow. Engine speed. This is throttle position right here. Throttle position sensor, right? 18.4. Staying still. Nothing. And then engine RPMs, it's like high 1100, almost 1200. That's about where it's idling, so it's got a little bit of a high idle. That throttle body actuator ain't doing what it's supposed to be doing. So that's where we're at. I mean, it'll start off, it'll shut off, and it'll start up. And just run like crap. And you keep cycling the key, trying to let the computer like relearn, maybe recognize, let that actuator go through a relearning process, and you keep messing with it. And again, like I said, I got everything else hooked up. You got your radio, you got your hazard lights, you got your wipers working, you got your signals working, you got your horns working, and you got your AC blowing. I mean, you got everything working in here. So it's not that I didn't install wires right. If I didn't install the wires right, stuff wouldn't be working. You know, the windows wouldn't be working. When this car came, that back window was down about like that. It wouldn't go up. Actually, both back windows. And now I got all the windows working. That body harness, you know, it does all that. It messes with the window, it messes with all that. So I'm gonna shut it off, and I'm gonna come out here and show you what's the next thing we did. We went through each one of these wires, and we separated them nice and neat and went through them all. Like, these are all your thick wires. These are the ones that have constant battery voltage to them. You know, these are 12 volt power wires, so to say, nice and thick. And I zipped them together and made sure, and I went double checked. I don't know how well y'all can see that, but double check that red and brown matches up over here on the opposite end. Red and brown, red and brown, red and yellow, red and yellow. I mean, I could just, and I've done this double checking all my wires. Blue and like orange, blue and orange on that side, purple and pink, purple and pink. I mean, I could just keep going here, guys. You know, so then I separated those, and then all the ones that are like braided, I went and zip tied those separate and did those. Then all the green ones, I separated them and went and inspected them one by one. Then I moved on to the yellow ones and went and inspected them one by one the same way. The pink ones, the red ones, as you can see here, zip tied separate. The purple ones, went through and checked them all one by one. And then these were just like different ones, different colors. And I went through and I checked these. And when I'm telling you check them, I'm talking about, you know, the pink ones. These pink ones right here were the only, these I'm absolutely sure they're in the right place. These three pink ones, you see how I have them separated? And if you noticed, on these three pink ones, I shrinked them, but I didn't tape over it like the rest, because I wasn't sure about these, because it's hard to hold the phone with one hand and show you this, but you see how this is pink and yellow, and this is pink and yellow, right? And it feels like the same thickness here as here, the same texture. It looks like these two wires were together. I analyzed them closely, the same with the thickness of this wire to this wire. But again, it's pink and yellow, pink and yellow. And then this one, the same one, it looks a little bit thinner, but again, it's pink and yellow and pink and yellow. So even though these three are all pink and yellow, I was very careful to look at the thickness of each wire, and, you know, kind of like the age and how crimpled this wire was. If these two were more straight, this one was more kinked. I looked at every factor I could to match them up and make sure I got them right, because I honestly don't know what these three wires are to. I don't have a diagram an electrical diagram that's telling me what each one of these wires is. So I'm going from color matching, size matching, texture matching, you know, other kind of marks and identification, you know, key things that I can pick up. These are the only three that I really wasn't sure about, so I haven't taped the shrink on them. You know, I shrinked them, but I didn't tape them up yet because I wasn't sure. But the more I look back through this, like, okay, maybe I made a mistake here somewhere, you know. There was a lot of wires, maybe I got something wrong. And then I've gone back like 2 different times already today, and I've double checked every wire. Did I get this one wrong? Let me look at this color over here. Let me look at this color over here again. And like one by one, in each one of these separated ones, I've gone and done that. It's very tedious, but I've done that. And, you know, that has to get taped up, zip tied up some more, and wrapped up inside of there. And then the fender will go on, and then the tire. But I don't want to do that until I get this running right. It was logical for me to think, well, that throttle body needed to be replaced. That's the code, so we replaced it. And then, well, if the throttle body's actuator is new, why is it still acting like this? I must have got a wire wrong. So I've gone back and, like I said, double and about to triple check the wires now. And I just I've been staring at it too long. I can't see any wire that's like popped out at me that's like, oh look, I got these two wrong, you know, like. So I'd be switching, if I switched anything, it'd be like switching them to get them wrong, because the more I look at them, the more I verify that I connected them correctly, that everything, all the wires match up to the other end of the wire that it was connected to. So you get to a point where you're kind of just like beating your head against the wall with this stuff, and you want nothing more than to give the guy his car back and be done with it. But this is what I'm dealing with. I hit the gas pedal and it doesn't go. It doesn't do anything. It'll start up like a champ. It'll run good at first, and then it'll start getting shittier. I got the scanner on it. I got the red bolt. So we're gonna end this video here. I'm tired. My brain is like melting right now, literally, like from thinking so hard about this. Tomorrow's another day. I'm just gonna get some rest. Probably lay in bed, look some stuff up online. Tomorrow I'm gonna wake up with a fresh head, look at it again, triple, quadruple check it again. I'm gonna call a buddy of mine. I'm gonna send him this video, see what he says. You know, you get to a point where you're just like, so that's where we're at. Wish it was better news than that, but you know, not just anybody takes on this type of job. This is very, very tedious, not fun to deal with job. First of all, you don't know what condition the car was in before. And then even if the customer says, yeah, the car was running great, which I'm looking at the engine, it looks like they hadn't done any maintenance to it. But let's say he's saying the truth, the car was running great. When these wires right here got disconnected, or ripped up, not disconnected, like I said, especially these thicker ones with the constant voltage running through them. When those got ripped up with the tire blowing up in here, all those wires were live. They had live electric current running through them, slapping everywhere. And until that battery got disconnected, all those wires were blah, 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 arcing against each other as the tire was ripping it up, shorting all kind of stuff out. And it blew out fuses, it blew out relays. But after it blows the relay and there's still electrical current, what's it going to blow out next? The component that it was attached to. So how long did they take from the time these wires were split by that tire exploding until the time the tow truck actually disconnected that battery? Who knows? I wasn't there. It's just one of those, it's like your car's overheating, but you just keep driving a little bit more just till you get somewhere safe. And then there's more damage because you drove it a little more. It's like, how much is the little more that they drove it with these wires alive, full of energy, sparking against each other? All these thick, gauged wires sparking against all these other wires, leading to different components. So there could be a short somewhere in the system, even though the wires are connected correctly. How do you find the short? Oh my God, I don't even want to think about it. I'm tired. I don't even want to think about it. To find that short, you first need to pull an electrical diagram. You need to start tracing each wire, the component it goes to, the relay and fuse it's running in that system. Trace it all the way down, you know, with a probe, and probe every component, every wire one by one. It becomes very, very no bueno. So I was hoping it was a simple, dumb mistake on a wire I got wrong, but the more I look at it, I don't see any wires I got wrong. And the throttle body, you could say it's made in China, cheapy throttle body. It could be a dud. The car's not responding well to it. It's not relearning. It's not going through the relearning procedure the way maybe the original Dodge Mopar throttle body would have. Who knows? It's hard to tell in this situation. Hard to tell. Man, them bugs are popping, ain't they? Anyways, I've blabbered enough. I'm tired. A lot of bugs dying out here tonight. I'm going to close the shop down. And like I said, tomorrow's another day. We did a lot of work today. We got the bumper on, we got the fender on, we got all the tires on except this tire. Is just figuring out this electrical thing, putting that plastic cover, putting the tire on, giving it back to the customer. And as simple as it sounds, it's very complicated. So until the next video, which should be the last video, and good news, signing off. Buenas noches.